So when my youngest son was little, he had a stock phrase that he used to say all the time. He used to say, "It's just a question." And he usually said it just as we were trying to head out the door for some deadline or something or other. And it made me think that I've got a question. You know, you can't turn on the radio or the TV at the moment without somebody saying that we need to spend more money on defence. And of course, when they say more money on defence, what they actually mean is we need to spend more money on our armed forces. We need to spend more money on weapon systems, on new weapons, building up our stocks of weapons, and so on. And of course, we've just had the Prime Minister announcing in UK that he's going to cut the international aid budget in order to spend more on defence. And my question is this: why do we think that spending more money on building up our armies and building up our weapons and buying new and ever more lethal weapons makes us more secure? I mean, as I look at the world at the moment, and you look at the devastation that's been sort of wreaked on Gaza, you look on the damage that's been done in Ukraine, as I think back to all those missiles taking off at the start of the Gulf War, as sort of shock and awe took place. And it seems to me that the world possesses more than enough weapons and armies at the moment to do huge amounts of damage, huge amounts of death and destruction. And so surely with all that weaponry available, if weapons were the answer to security, we ought to be really secure. But we're clearly not. So why is spending more on weapons the answer? I mean, imagine imagine a younger, fitter me, but imagine I came up to you looking pretty angry with you, holding a great big club. I suspect you wouldn't feel all that secure. You might even feel so threatened that you feel you need to go and pick up a club. And so we're both there staring at each other angrily, holding big clubs. I'm not sure secure is the right way of describing that situation. I mean, to be honest, it seems like a pretty insecure situation. And yet that seems to be the logic behind spend more on defence, build up bigger armies, buy more weapons, because then, yes, we'll be secure. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. Surely security is relational. I can't be secure unless you feel secure. And if my security is the expense of your insecurity, then that doesn't sound like a very sustainable form of security. Surely security comes through slowly, steadily building trust, understanding each other, getting to understand why you might fear me and I might fear you, and beginning to understand where that's coming from and addressing those issues. It comes through listening. It comes through talking. And if that's the case, then if we are genuinely interested in being secure, then surely we ought to be investing in things like diplomacy. People who speak different languages, who can spend time in a country understanding it, building relationships with people. Maybe it's spending money on things like reliable journalism that can present the facts rather than rumour, misinformation and conspiracy theories. Journalists that are accountable, that journalists, the BBC World Service perhaps. Things like that. And yet that's been cut, hasn't it? Maybe it's about building that sort of journalistic capability in other countries. The sort of thing that actually international aid sometimes does. Maybe it's investing more in fact-checking organisations to counter all that misinformation and hate speech. Maybe it's training peace builders in different countries so they can try and resolve and mediate those tensions before they get out of hand. Maybe it's doing work that addresses those conflict drivers, whatever they may be, competition for resources, effects of climate change, whatever. Again, sort of thing that international aid does. And yet, we seem to be heading inexorably in the other direction. Now, I know that, in the current situation, we are where we are, and we probably do need to spend some money on restocking weapons and stuff like that, but surely that's not the aim. Surely we should be looking to put our clubs down, to reduce those holdings steadily over time, to build a better future, to tell a better story. So my question is, why do we think that more weapons, bigger armies, makes us more secure? It's just a question.